The wife will shoot me when I get home.
I'm saying it. Well,
one of the other things I was going to ask you, Rebecca, we were talking about plastics earlier on. I presume the plastic's refined from the oil, is it?
Bioplastics.
Yeah, well, I understand you can make plastics out of hemp.
Bioplastic.
Yeah,
is it refined from the oil then?
I think it's from the fibre. I haven't really looked into it too much, the bioplastics. That's a bit of a long way off. You'd need to. I've been in talks with a number of with one institute actually that could do bioplastics and using the fibre, the cellulose.
Right.
And they have a special way of doing it, and that's using the cellulose fibre. But
that makes sense.
Again, it comes down to working in with joint ventures and stuff like that. But originally, that's why I decided to go into seed as a product, because you need something that people are going to use every day. That's really good for the planet and also good for people, but also really easy to process. And it's much easier to process the seed than it is to process the fibre. So it was to start with something that was simple, and then once that's got going, then, and also it's happening. I mean, there's a seed industry here in Canada and in Europe, in Eastern Europe. So there already is a seed industry, whereas the fibre industries are mostly in Nepal or China. And with the labour as cheap as it is out there, there's no way we can compete here in the West. It's just, at the moment, it would be impossible to compete with China and Nepal, and, just purely on the labour costs. So it makes sense to look at seed, and then once the seed industry is up and running and making money, then you can invest in looking at the fibre side of it. Well, that's the conclusion we came to.
I've noticed that you can buy hemp seed oil in Morrison's, I believe, the supermarket.
Oh, yeah. No, you can. I mean, there's Good Oil. Good Oil do hemp oil, and they grow their own seed. They go for their own seed here, but they don't do it commercially. They just do it for their own products.
Right. Yeah.
So,
are there any other products that are already commercially available that you're aware of?
Oh, hemp.
Yeah.
Well, there are. There's hemp beer. There's hemp spaghetti. There's hemp seeds. You just have to Google hemp foods and loads of it will come up. There's a few online hemp shops, and there is hemp being sold, but it's minimal. I mean, it's tiny. It's tiny.
Yeah.
It's still very niche.
I think this is a perfect time to come in with the next song, very aptly named the Hemp Song. Check out the lyrics to this, folks.
Oh yeah, it's great. Love it.
Tell you all a little bit about a plant I know that can save the world. It grows long and tall and has flowers that can make your mind swirl. It's a funky plant with a fiber that is resistant to rain and mold. It's the strongest plant fiber known to man, the best rope you'll ever hold. Well, the pioneers covered up the wagon trains with a canvas made of hemp. And Washington and Jefferson grew it on their farms, said to make the most of it. First stars and stripes were sewn on hemp, first Constitution too. It's around the world for food, fiber, oil, medicine, and fuel. But if we press its seeds, we won't have no need for any other oil. We can make paints and inks, we'll run our car, we'll go back next season, it'll fix the soil. The most nutritious seed we can put in our mouth with omega-6 and 3. We can feed the world with the tree of life and live sustainably. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's the goddess plant grown wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. Whoa, whoa. The female hemp plant make the best medicines on earth. Helps cancer and AIDS patients eat their food. Helps those with depression overcome the blues. Glaucoma, epilepsy, nausea, insomnia, stress, neurosis, psychosis, pain, money off this plant, you see, because it's free. It grows from the seed, wild and free, like we ought to be. You know, the future is growing in our own backyards. If we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. We grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's a God's plan, growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. La 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 la. In this modern day and age, when we seem to lack spirituality, this one single plant can bring us back almost 10,000 years in history. To the Shiva Puranas, the Jesus, the Christ, to the Buddha, the pagans, the goddess, the light, to commune with all the animals, commune with all the trees, to realize the goddess because inside me is the birth, is a mother. We gotta take care of the earth. The earth is the mother that gives life birth, and we can heal our relation with a single green plant. We can start right now, but if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's the God's plan, growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. Whoa. Yeah, la 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 la. Whoa.
Okay, hello, welcome back to Northeast Truth. You're here with Dean and Simon and Rebekah Shaman. Yeah, if anyone would like to check out any of the hemp products and the food that she sells, and also to find out a bit more about her book and the shamanism aspect, if you go to the website RebekahShaman.com, and that's Rebekah with a H at the end, REBEKAH, shaman.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, also, if anyone would like to write in later with some questions, if you add the Scottish Sovereign to your Skype contacts, and you can text in any questions, and we'll get them during the show.
We'll do that in the last half hour.
Yeah, that's for the last half hour.
Happy to answer any questions.
There were two questions came up during the break there, which I'm interested to ask, because one of them, this is from how do you say that? Anthropalas Solas. Somebody from the Irish Ning side is asking, he's planning to go to Peru next year to study ayahuasca for a couple of months. Can you make any recommendations for him?
Does he have something on, or he just wants to go and do it?
Yeah, he wants to pretty much go and do what you did.
I don't know whether he's already got a contact out there, though, by the sound of it.
Well, a lot of people ask me this question, and it's a good question. Like I said, I was called by a shaman in a vision, so I didn't even know it existed, and I just went out looking for the shaman. And actually, what happened was that while I was in Iquitos, I met a guy who had a book called The Cosmic Serpent, DNA and the Origins of Knowledge. And it was about this anthropologist who had gone into the Amazon and had observed, but never taken, interestingly, ayahuasca. And he had the first copy of the book in English, because it was originally Swiss French, I think. And he had the first copy of English, and he gave it to me, and I read this book before I actually went into the Amazon, so I was pretty much briefed on what to expect with the ayahuasca. Now, I mean, that was like 12 years ago, and now ayahuasca is really massive. So my suggestion to you is to just follow your intuition. There's a lot of things going on out there, but you just need to find the right one that's really working for you. And ayahuasca, there's many different teachers out there, and you have to find the right teacher. And when the pupils are ready, the teacher will appear, and when the teacher's ready, the pupil does appear. So if you're getting a call to go to Peru, and I would either do some research on the internet. There are a few initiate schools out there. If none of them really grab you, then go to the Amazon and you'll find loads of tourism things. There is a few, if anyone's interested, they can email me, and I've got a few friends that do trips out to Peru and where you can take it, but they're organised trips. And so if anyone can email me at Rebekah Shaman, that's REBEKAH at Rebekah Shaman. If you want to know more about it, then email me and I'll personally write back with addresses. I don't really want to give it out on the radio.
That's brilliant.
What was the other question?
Yes, they're asking you, can you describe your first or your ayahuasca experiences? I mean, I listen sometimes to a guy called Graham Hancock, very interesting guy as well. He spent a lot of time doing, he's had something like 30 to 40 experiences over in the Amazon taking ayahuasca. He's getting inspirations from books from it as well. But he describes it as, at first, it's like connecting to like a spirit or an alien world, where first you don't speak the language of the spirits there, but the more you do it, you kind of start to understand the telepathic kind of language and the messages that come to you. So can you describe what it was like for you?
Well, I think like Graham Hancock, I mean, when I took ayahuasca, I took it under an apprenticeship, and I was very structured. It was a very structured apprenticeship, whereas I would take it 3 times a week. Sometimes we take it just the shaman and me, sometimes we take it with sick people, sometimes we take it with some people from the village, so it varied. But what I worked out over the period of time that I took it was that every single journey was different. And you can never ever explain what an ayahuasca journey is, because one, you will never have the same journey twice. It's impossible. What I did find was that the first few times I took it was more of a purging, of getting rid of all the toxicity and some of the fear and anger that I was holding in our systems, or in my system, and certainly what comes out first is the toxicity. So if you've drunk a lot of alcohol or taken a lot of drugs, the ayahuasca is going to be working on that first of all before it can get down into the real spiritual. And it's layers of an onion. So the more you take, the more deeper you can go until you cleaned out all the toxicity, and then you've cleaned out, and it's levels. But my situation was very unique, and I don't think that when you take it. See, I really believe that ayahuasca can take you through into another consciousness. Absolutely. I also that's what it's designed to do.
I would call it a higher dimensional consciousness.
Well, it helps us shift consciousness to a more fluid, shamanistic way of looking at life, where it's much more 4th and 5th dimensional, rather than a very 3D dimensional way, which is what we've been trained to. Been trained to live in a 3D reality, where we're actually living in a 4th and 5th dimensional reality. And what ayahuasca does, it expands the frequency wave, so you're able to experience these other dimensional levels of being, of consciousness that that are shut down basically at birth on this planet. They've shut that down by making us very addicted to stuff and money and fear and anger and all this madness that we're having to cope with at the moment. But when you head into the 4th and 5th dimensional realities, you realise that there's a whole different game being played, and that's very much on creating your own reality, setting out your intention and allowing the universe to guide you to where you need to go, recognising all the magical symbols and signs that are in nature that are guiding us on our paths, and actually connecting with soul families and realising that you're not alone, and that there's amazing, wonderful human beings out there, and it's actually an amazing, magical, incredible planet that we're living on.